She told me to stay in my lane, said I was too loud, too old-fashioned, too opinionated to help plan her big day. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I just nodded and stayed in my lane, right down to the bank. Took every penny I had saved for that wedding. The venue, the food, the dress, all of it. Gone in one quiet visit. They still had their wedding, but it looked like a potluck in somebody's backyard. The cake came from a grocery store. And my son, he didn't say a word, but the look on his face when he saw that empty ballroom was louder than any vow she ever whispered. Before I go any further, I just want to thank you for sitting with me today. Truly, it means more than you know. Some days these stories feel heavy to carry alone. But when I speak them out loud, and know somebody out there is listening, it lightens the load just a little. So thank you for being here with me. Let me know where you're watching from. What city, what state, what little corner of this world are you holding down today? I read every single comment, and I remember the names. And if you've ever been pushed aside by the very people you helped stand tall, if you've ever sat in a room full of your own and still felt invisible, I want to hear from you. Tell me your story in the comments, or send it to the email down below. I'm not the only one carrying the truth. I know that. And maybe, just maybe, if we speak these truths out loud, they won't hurt so quiet no more. My is Loretta May. I'm 64 years old, born and raised in a little town outside Macon, Georgia. I grew up on red dirt, Sunday hymns, and biscuits from scratch. I've lived a long life, not always easy, but always full. I was a mother, a wife, a church usher, and a woman who knew how to stretch a dollar from Monday to Sunday. Lost my husband when my boy was still little. Cancer, don't ask if he ready. So from that day forward, it was just me and my son. Lord knows I gave that child everything I had. Worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3, cleaned houses during the day and stitched dresses by night, just so he could have new shoes when the school year came. I used to hum to him while folding laundry, saying, "One day, you'll be somebody's husband, and I hope she sees in you what I see." And he was a good boy, quiet, respectful, gentle, always looked out for me. Never gave me a lick of trouble. I used to pray over him every night while he slept, hand on his back, thanking God for making me his mama. But things started shifting the day he brought her home. His fiancée, she was pretty, oh no doubt about that, pretty in the way people stop and stare. But there was a sharpness in her I caught early. She smiled, sure, but it never reached her eyes. That smile had teeth. She called me Miss Loretta, like it was a title, not a name. Always polite but never warm. Said all the right things, but you could feel it. She didn't mean a word of it. I saw the way she looked around my house, like it was too small for her taste. Like my old photo frames and hand-me-down curtains were a problem she couldn't wait to fix. Still, I stayed gracious. I thought, give it time, she just needs to know me better. But I had no idea then, just how far she'd go to push me out. When they got engaged, I was happy. Truly. I clapped, I cried a little, and I pulled my old recipe box down from the shelf, 'cause I just knew I'd be helping plan that wedding from start to finish. I started jotting down ideas, little touches from our family that would make the day special. I offered to make homemade centerpieces with lace from my mama's old quilts. Suggested the church down the road that's seen 4 generations of our kin walk down its aisle. Even told them my cousin Ruthie could sing "His Eye is on the Sparrow." During the ceremony, she's got a voice that'll bring you to your knees. I thought I was helping. I thought I was honoring tradition. One afternoon, we all sat around the dining room table, me, my son, and his fiancée. She had a laptop open, clicking through pictures of venues with glass walls and silver chairs. I gently slid my notepad toward her with a few ideas I'd written in careful handwriting. I said, "I know I ain't fancy, but I thought maybe we could mix in some family pieces. Something real, something that lasts." She looked down at the paper. Didn't even pick it up. Then she let out this little laugh, just a breath through her nose, and said, "We're going for a modern look, Loretta. You might want to just stay in your lane." She said it like she was offering a weather report. Calm, cold, dismissive. The room went quiet. My son didn't speak up, didn't look me in the eye, just kept scrolling on his phone like his ears had gone numb. I felt my throat tighten. My hands were still on the table, fingers lightly touching the paper I had brought. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I just nodded real slowly. And then I stood up, tucked that little notepad back into my purse, and walked out the room. They didn't stop me. Didn't ask what was wrong. They just kept talking about flower budgets like I was never there. That's when I knew. I wasn't part of the wedding. I was just a shadow they were trying to step over. After that meeting, I tried to shake it off. Told myself maybe she was just stressed, maybe it was the pressure talking. I wanted to believe it wasn't personal, so I kept quiet. Gave them space. But deep down, I started feeling something I didn't want to name, like I was being erased, piece by piece. I had spent years saving for that boy's future. Not for vacations, not for new shoes or pretty things for myself. For him, for his big day. Every time I won $20 at bingo, I tucked 10 away. Every time I got a little birthday money from the church folks, I saved it. I skipped hair appointments, cooked beans when I wanted steak, turned the heat down in the winter. All so I could build up that account. I'd go to the bank every few months and smile at that balance like it was a child growing up in front of me. That account was my quiet gift to my son, the man I raised with my bare hands. But as the wedding got closer, I noticed I wasn't being called. Wasn't being included. No invite to the bridal shower. I only found out about it because a cousin posted a picture online. A table full of women laughing and sipping on punch, and not a single chair saved for me. Then one day, I saw a rough draft of the wedding program sitting on the kitchen counter while I dropped off some banana pudding I made for them. I glanced at it, and my name was nowhere. Not under mother of the groom, not in acknowledgments, not even in the thank you section. My chest felt tight, but I didn't say a word. I just placed that dessert on the table, kissed my son on the cheek, and walked out like my heart wasn't shattering under each step. He used to call me every week. Used to come by on Sundays to check the gutters, fix the porch swing, eat my fried chicken like it was the best thing he'd tasted all week. But now? Weeks passed. Then a full month. No call, no text, no knock on my door. That's when it hit me. Real and clear. I wasn't just being left out. I was being pushed out. Quietly. Deliberately. Like I was a relic from an old time they didn't want shining in their new life. And what broke me the most wasn't her. It was him. My own son. My baby. The one I rocked to sleep with gospel hums and prayer. The one I fed before I ever fed myself. He knew better. He was raised better. But still he stood by while I was written out like I never mattered. About 2 weeks after that program incident, I was sitting in the kitchen folding tablecloths for Bible study. Hands moving, but my heart was somewhere else. I wasn't crying loud, just quiet tears. The kind that slip down your face, slow, like they're trying to bother anybody. That's when she walked in. My great-niece, Tasha. Daughter of my late niece Denise. God rest her soul. Tasha used to come around as a little girl, always asking questions, always getting into my jewelry box like she belonged there. And in a way, she always did. She was grown now, 23 I believe. Smart. Mouth like a firecracker when she needed it, but kind, always kind to me. That day she walked in holding a small bag of groceries for me, without me asking. She took one look at my face and stopped. I tried to hide it, turned my back and kept folding like nothing was wrong. But she saw. She came close and put her hand on mine, just real gentle, and said, "Aunt Loretta, what's going on?" I shook my head trying to play it off. "Oh, it's nothing, baby. Just tired, that's all." She didn't buy it. "Tired? Don't make your hands tremble like that. Talk to me." So I told her. Not all at once, but in little pieces. I told her how I'd been left out, how the wedding planning had gone on without me, how my name was missing from everything, like I was just background noise. I told her how the girl told me to stay in my lane. And how my own son had fallen silent, like a stranger in his own home. Tasha sat there, her jaw tight, then she said something I'll never forget. "You raised a man out, Loretta. Not a mouthpiece. Don't let them treat you like wallpaper. You ain't meant to blend in with nothing." I blinked. That hit me deep. She asked me if I still had access to the wedding account. I told her I opened it years ago, in both our names, mine and my son's, just to help them one day. I hadn't looked at it in months. Tasha pulled out her phone and said, "Let's log in." I hesitated. Part of me didn't want to see. I was scared of what I'd find. But Tasha held my hand and said, "Whatever's in there, you deserve to know. You earned that seat at the table, and they don't get to take it from you." She helped me log in right there at the kitchen table. Her fingers moved fast, tapping through the screens. And when the numbers came up, my heart dropped. What I saw made me go still. Real still. But that part, I'll tell you in the next piece. Tasha tapped through the app, real focused, her brow all furrowed. Then she stopped and tilted the phone toward me. The screen showed my name, my account, but the transactions, they didn't look like mine. I leaned in closer. There it was. Payment after payment, all recent. Thousands gone. One to a bridal boutique, one to a venue in Atlanta, another to a catering company I ain't never heard of. Then more, invitations, decorations, even some online order marked premium linens. My eyes just stayed on the screen. I didn't blink. My chest got tight, like it was trying to hold back every hurt at once. I asked, all that came from my account? Tasha nodded, quiet, careful. Yeah, Auntie, it's been coming out steady. It hit me right then. The very money I sacrificed for, the account I'd built up over years of saying no to myself so I could say yes to him, that money was being drained without my voice in the room. They didn't just leave me out the plans. They used my kindness like a bank that don't speak up. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just sat there. A storm was building in me, but it wasn't loud. It was quiet. The kind that don't shake windows but still moves the house. Tasha whispered, what you want to do? I didn't answer right away. I stood up, walked slow to my room, came back with a little folder from the drawer. Opened it up, took out every document tied to that account. Bank numbers, passcodes, statements from last year. Then I said, calm as a breeze, I want to print it all. We went down to the little print shop in town. I didn't even change clothes. Wore my house sweater and my slippers. Walked in like a woman on a mission. I printed every transaction, every statement, every date they dipped into my grace. And the next morning I went to that bank, the same one I'd visited 100 times with a smile and a quiet prayer. Only this time I wasn't depositing nothing. I withdrew every penny. The teller asked, is this for something special? I said, yes, for my peace. I walked out that bank with my head high and my silence louder than any speech. They said I was too loud, so I let my silence speak. And baby, it told the whole truth without saying a word. It was 3 days after I cleared out that account when the phone finally rang. I was sitting on my porch, rocking slow with a cup of tea, trying to calm the thoughts rolling in my head. The kind that don't let you rest, but also don't raise their voice. Caller ID showed my son's name. My hand paused over the phone. I just stared at it for a moment, took a deep breath. Then I answered. He didn't say hello. No hey mama, or how you doing? Just jumped right in. Mama? What happened to the venue payment? His voice had a sharp edge to it. Like he was embarrassed, like he'd been cornered and didn't know how to explain nothing to nobody. I didn't match his tone. I stayed calm, soft but clear. I said, I stayed in my lane, baby. Just like I was told. And that lane didn't lead to disrespect. He went quiet, real quiet. Then he mumbled, You could have talked to me first. I let that sit a second. Then I said, you had weeks to talk to me, but you let silence speak for you. So now, I'm letting mine answer back. There was no yelling, no name-calling, just truth. Plain and steady. That night my phone buzzed again. A long text message from his fiancée. It started off with, no offense, which always means the offense is coming. She said I was making a scene, that I ruined their timeline, that I acted out of spite. She called me bitter, said I was jealous of a new woman taking her place. I read the whole thing, every paragraph. Then I put the phone down and poured me another cup of tea. I didn't respond right away. I waited till morning. Then I sent one line. You wanted a wedding without me, so don't call me when it feels like something's missing. I didn't block her. I didn't argue. I just gave her the truth in full. No dress fitting, no tasting, no tears, just silence, polite and powerful. And in that silence, I took back everything they thought I'd just hand over. Not the money. The worth. After all that happened, the texts, the silence, the weight of being shut out, I woke up one morning and just sat still. No music playing, no phone buzzing, just me. Breathing. I looked around my house, the same one I'd lived in for over 40 years. The same front porch where I used to rock my baby to sleep in my arms. The same kitchen where love was cooked into every pot. But I realized, somewhere along the way I had stopped living in it. I had been too busy waiting. Waiting on calls, waiting on invites, waiting on folks to remember where they came from. So I made a choice. First thing I did was go to the hardware store and buy me 2 cans of paint. Sky blue and soft cream. Came home, put on one of my old scarves, turned up some Magalia Jackson, and started painting that front porch like it was my front row to freedom. Every stroke felt like I was taking something back. I dusted off the old Bible study sign-up sheet and called the ladies from church. Told them, if y'all still got a word to share and a heart to listen, come sit on my porch next Thursday. They came. Every last one. We sat with our Bibles, our old fans, and hearts that had seen a lot of hurt, but still beat with hope. Then I bought myself something I hadn't in years. A brand new rocking chair. Not no hand-me-down, not from the flea market. A chair with cushions so soft, I swear it felt like the Lord himself wrapped his arms around me when I sat down. And Tasha, God bless that girl, she wasn't done with me. She came over one afternoon and said, Aunt Loretta, how would you feel about teaching some of your recipes to the community? I got a friend who works with the rec center, they got a kitchen we can use. At first, I hesitated. Me? Teach? But then I remembered, every time I stirred a pot, it wasn't just food I was making. It was comfort. It was memory. It was love passed down in cast iron and wooden spoons. So I said yes. And on the first day of class, I wore my Sunday best. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to. Burgundy dress, church hat with the feather on the side, and my mother's brooch right at the collar. I walked in that room not as somebody's forgotten mama, but as a woman who still had something to offer. And when I picked up that wooden spoon and showed those young girls how to fold dough with love and not rush, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. I felt seen. Peace has a sound. And it ain't explaining yourself to people who ain't listening. It's laughing over cornbread with strangers who treat you like family. It's sitting in a new chair you bought for yourself, rockin' slow while the sun kisses your skin. It's waking up and realizing you ain't too old to begin again. It was late fall when he came back. The leaves had already turned, orange, red, and brittle gold scattered all across my front yard like the earth was shed of everything old. The air had that quiet chill that lets you know the year is nearing its close. I was on the porch, wrapped in my shawl, rocking slow in my new chair, just watching the wind blow through the trees. That's when I saw a car pull up. Slow. Real slow. Like the driver wasn't sure if they should park or keep driving. It was my son. He stepped out the car alone. No ring, no wife, just him, looking smaller than I remembered. Not in size, but in spirit. He stood at the bottom of my steps for a long time. Head low, shoulders sunk. I didn't say nothing, just kept rocking. After a minute he finally climbed the steps and sat down on the edge of the porch. He didn't look me in the eyes right away. Just stared out at the yard like he was searching for words in the leaves. Then he said, soft but shaky, Mama, I'm sorry. I didn't jump up, didn't cry, didn't reach for him. I just asked, what you sorry for? He took a deep breath. For letting her treat you like that, for not speaking up, for letting your name get erased like you ain't matter. Silence sat between us for a while after that, long enough for the wind to change directions. Then he said, I am not here for money, Mama, I miss you. I looked at him for the first time then. Really looked. That was still my boy. But he wasn't the same. Life had humbled him. You could see it in his eyes, something broke and he was holding the pieces now. I nodded slow. I hear you. But hear me too. I leaned forward, hands folded in my lap. Sorry without change is just noise, and I done had enough of that. He swallowed hard. Looked like he wanted to say more but couldn't. So I reached over gently and laid my hand on his. We sat like that for a bit, just the two of us, no words, just time passing. I did hug him before he left. Held him like I used to when the world felt too big for his little shoulders. But I didn't invite him inside. Not yet. Some doors, even when they still open, need time before they swing wide again. Forgiveness don't mean forgetting. And love don't mean you keep letting folks walk through your peace with muddy shoes. If they ever made you feel like you didn't belong, like your opinion didn't matter, like your time had passed, you listen to me, and you listen good. Your value ain't tied to who calls, who invites, or who shows up. It ain't about whether your name is printed in some program or if there's a chair saved for you at the table. Your worth was never based on how loud they clap when you enter the room. It's in how you carry yourself, even when the room turns quiet. You can love people, deep, true, unconditional love, and still say, that's far enough. That don't make you mean. That don't make you bitter. That makes you wise. It took me a long time to understand that setting boundaries isn't pushing people away. It's protecting the parts of yourself that took years to build. If you're watching this and feeling like nobody sees you, like your heart's been bruised by your own blood, like you've been made to feel like background noise in your own story, I see you. You ain't invisible. You ain't too much. And you ain't finished. They told me to stay in my lane, so I did. But what they forgot is that my lane was the only one that was fully paid for, with sacrifice, with prayer, with silence, with grace. And when the road got rough, I drove it anyway. Now before you go, if any part of this story touched a place in you that's still healing, don't keep it bottled up. Tell me your story in the comments, whether it's 5 words or 5 paragraphs, I'm listening. And I promise, you ain't the only one going through it. Like this video if it reminded you of something you had to walk away from in order to protect your peace. Share it with somebody who needs to remember they still matter. And if you felt seen today, if you felt heard, subscribe. Join this circle of truth-telling folks who ain't afraid to speak what hurts and heal out loud. We don't go quiet over here. We grow through it together. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one. More love from Granny.